Welcome back to What Do You Know with Nick and Devin. I am Devin.
And I'm Nick.
Thanks for being here, everybody. Nick, my question for you today
Oh, yes.
is... hold on, I gotta stretch this one out. Oh, don't say stretch it out. Stretch this one out, rather. Anyway, my question for you today.
Devin's quite the expert, so...
My question, now that
Yes.
I've zoomed in on my notes.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yes.
you had a title, what do you think it would be? For example, like Hagar the Horrible, the old comic strip,
I see what you mean.
or Vlad the Impaler.
Sure.
What would it be?
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it could talk to, like, what do you want to be remembered by?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Fair.
But, like, you kind of want something cool.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You don't want it to just be like Nick the Great.
Or, like, Nick the Gay. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess.
it's also a little too general.
Yeah,
You know what
fair.
I mean? Yeah. Oh, man.
Because there's also like Eric the Red.
Oh.
You could be a color.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
That could be, like, Nick the Blue.
Are you Sad Boy?
No.
Well.
Nick the Gold.
That could be good.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
What would that mean, though? Like, why would people call you Nick the Gold?
I think people call me Nick the Gold because gold can be shiny and worthy.
You're rich, like
And
rich in personality,
Rich in
maybe
personality.
not in pockets.
Yeah. Not in pockets. But yeah, like gold can have a lot of meaning from... Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Or like Nick, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking about like last week's Aztec things, like Nick the Obsidian. Lava glass.
Yeah, do you have a lot of obsidian-like qualities? I think gold works better for you.
Okay.
Is it because you're wearing a gold sweater?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I can have a golden hue
Sure.
to my skin tone. Yeah. Sun guy.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think I like Nick the Gold. That's
Nick
a good
the
one.
Gold. Yeah.
Want to be Nicholas the Gold or Nick the Gold?
I know that's hard.
Yeah.
I feel like it has to be the full name,
Full
right?
name, probably.
Nicholas the Gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot of people call me Nicholas though.
I do sometimes.
Sometimes I've heard it said.
we have video of it.
Yes.
Roll the tapes.
And you just clip every single time. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with it for now.
Yeah.
We'll circle back and next year we'll come back to
Next
this.
year.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to fucking remember that.
Put it on a
That's fine.
whiteboard, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, what would you be?
Mine would be Devin the Pancifical. Pancifical.
Okay. You can't even say it.
No, I can't. But I'd
Pancifical?
like it. Pancifical.
Okay.
Pansophical, which means, for those of you who don't know, universal wisdom or encyclopedic knowledge. I thought that was very on point for our podcast.
I love that. All I'm thinking about is the amount of times we've edited out us Googling something in the middle of an episode. But it means we want more knowledge.
Yeah.
Wisdom. I do appreciate that.
Come on.
I do appreciate that. I did just think about, because then you went with like a word in the sense of like, not like a color. I was like, we're all going with words, but I think you know what I mean. So like, my favorite word is magnanimous. And that could be something, but
That's
I
a
don't
good
like,
one.
I like gold better.
Gold is nice.
Okay, anyway.
Gold fits.
Gold
I
fits.
also had time to like Google fun words.
Yeah, I was like, you're looking down and reading, and I was like, this bitch is not coming up with this on the fly.
Hell no.
No. So what was it again? Devin the
Pancifical.
Pancifical. Like to pontificate.
Sure.
Like to pontificate, like to think.
Yes,
Yes.
I feel like it's the same root word.
Yeah. Yeah, you get it. To ponticate. That's not a word.
Well, there's just no like
the first time.
You did.
Keep going.
Yeah, but yeah, Devin the Pancifical.
Okay, I like it.
Is my title.
Okay,
Anyway,
Devin the. Do I have to say that every time I enter this house now?
well, I would be, I guess, technically greeting you, or would it be vice versa, where it's like now arriving Nick the Gold, first of his name, kind of situation?
Oh,
or,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Nicholas the Gold.
I think I would like that. Can we get like like the little buttons you press in and it has the pre-recorded thing?
Yeah,
in it?
we can do that. Like
I'll
people
just do
use
that.
for their dogs to tell them like there's a ghost behind you kind of situation.
Yeah, those things are terrifying.
Yeah,
those videos are horror because they don't know that we're doing like they're literally telling you there is something there.
Right.
Like person here,
Right.
person here, and you're like, there's nothing here, and you're like, oh, cool. Ghost.
Ghost.
Great. What do you call it? Yeah, I like that. We should do that. So upon entering this home, or anytime we see each other, we should just bring it with us.
Old skill pocket ones.
100%.
Perfect. So this is semi-related to my topic, but we're just going to get into it now.
Okay.
I don't have any segue for this. But anyway, what do you know?
Yes.
Hard at it. What do you know about Harald Gormsson?
Harald Gormsson?
Yeah.
Is this a real person?
Yes.
Oh. Nothing.
We'll get to his title later, but you don't know anything. Perfect.
Oh. Will I know him based off of his title?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
We'll see.
It might do some stuff in your brain.
Yes. That.
All right, so we've been doing a lot of time traveling this month.
Yes, we have.
With all of our topics. So we're going to keep on time traveling. Let's make sure our machine is charged. Because it's electric, of course.
Naturally.
Duh.
2024.
And we're going to hop back into our time machine for a trip back to the year 970.
Oh, okay. We're going
really back.
Yeah. Okay. Let me take you back to biblical times.
Post-biblical, kind of.
Fair. I mean, since it is AD. Yeah, technically.
So Harald Gormsson was the son of King Gorm. I'm sorry, I've been saying Gormsson. It's Gormsson. Excuse me.
Wow.
Dyslexia.
At its finest. Gormsson. Gormsson sounds a little more familiar, but I think just as probably familiar as Gormsson.
Yeah.
All I'm thinking about is Wallace and Gromit. Honestly, is what I'm thinking of.
Well, it's not
It's
Wallace
claymation.
and Gormit.
Thank you.
All right, so what do you know about Harald Gormsson? You don't know anything. We're going back to 970.
Yes.
Now we're back. Harold Gormsson was the son of King Gorm, King Gorm the Old.
I get it. Gorm's son.
Yes, sorry,
Gorm.
we're going back in time to 970, but also to Scandinavia, where the name type of stuff is. It's going to be your original name, but it's usually named after someone, and then your last name is just son of whomever. So Gormsson, son of Gorm.
Yeah.
To kind of break down that name structure for you.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Harald Gormsson, son of King Gorm the Old, and Tira Danebod, reigned as the king of Denmark from 958 to 986.
Okay.
So we're talking about King Harald here.
That's pretty good time.
He was known for many things, like introducing Christianity to Denmark and consolidating his rule over parts of the Scandinavian region.
What a dick, though. You have to. It's another Augustine situation here.
Yeah, it's definitely with the Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Why Christianity was brought up there, but we'll get into it in a little bit.
Okay.
So let's just start off with Harold's reign as king. Harry did a lot of for public works in his kingdom, including the construction of 2 large gelling stones. Gelling stones.
Thank you.
Are massive carved rune stones that can be seen at the town of. I think I'm probably actually pronouncing this wrong, of Jelling in Denmark, because J's in Danish language are actually usually pronounced with kind of like a Y sound, so it might be like a I don't want to say yelling, but it might be a little bit more close to like that.
The way that
sound.
You say it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's spelled Jelling, so.
Got it. Okay.
But it might be more of like a Yuling stone.
Oh, well, Scandinavian accent going
Maybe.
on here.
In Yuling, Denmark.
Yeah. Yuletide.
The first 2 were raised by Harold's father, King Gorm the Old, in memory of his wife, Tira.
Okay.
Harold constructed 2 more, larger than his father's, there's a joke in there somewhere, to celebrate his conquest of Denmark and Norway, in memory of his parents and his conversion of the Danes to Christianity.
Yeah, so he's like, there's just like so much that I did.
Right.
That it just has to be so like.
They need to be bigger so I can fit all these notes, all these runes on here.
I don't want that. I don't want to overshadow my father. But
Mine's just bigger than my dad's.
I just did so much.
Right,
exactly.
So these stones are a great historic source that notes the creation of Denmark as a nation state.
Okay.
So all these stones have a bunch of runes on them, stories carved into them, telling the conquests of Harold and depicting an image of the crucified Christ, which earned these stones the nickname Denmark's baptismal certificate.
Christ.
Literally. So that's kind of the importance of these stones. And like when I mentioned that it was like the creation of Denmark as a nation state, it's kind of like your first moment of like this is a national state kind of situation.
Sure.
So Harald was also known for fortifying the fortress of Aarhus.
Okay.
This fortress was located at the center of his kingdom in 979. He ordered a ring of forts as well to be built in 5 strategic locations across his kingdom that kept Aarhus perfectly in the center.
Okay.
So there was, and I might botch these a little bit.
Sure.
But there was Chelborg on Zealand, Borring in eastern Zealand, Nonabakken on Funad, Fitterkat in Himmerland, and Agersborg near Limfjord.
I feel like Lord of the Rings really prepared you for this.
Yeah, a little bit. It really helps that I'm reading through the trilogy right now. So, now I did say Zealand, and some of you might be getting a little confused. There is a province in the Netherlands called Zeeland, spelled with 2 E's, Zeeland,
yes.
As to which the country of New Zealand was named after when it was cited by Dutch explorer Abel Tasman. You say cited because there were, I think that's the new term. It's the first time I've come across it, but I think it's the new way of saying like, y'all didn't discover this land. You just saw it. You cited it because there were people living there previously. There were Polynesians that came down to New Zealand.
Interesting. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, this was the first time I read it. I was like, this fucking makes sense.
Yes.
I like it. Because I was like prepared to write out like, oh, you know, when I say it, like discovered in quotes kind of thing, like, you know.
Because I always think about it like, not that it's taught this way, but like Christopher Columbus discovering, you know what I mean? The Americas is in context to the Spanish. Right. You know what I mean? Like this
from
would
the
be
perspective of
right. But I like cited better.
Yeah. So I'm going to start saying that from now on.
All right.
There we go. We learned a little bit more.
It's like something we're trying to achieve on this podcast.
Wow. So that's where New Zealand comes from, and he has all these 5 forts with the original at the center.
Okay.
Each of these fortresses were designed in similar fashion. Quote, perfectly circular with gates opening to the 4 corners of the earth and a courtyard divided into 4 areas which held large houses set in a square pattern.
Oh.
Most of these are still standing today, and you can kind of like go see them and
that's
whatnot.
Cool. Would you live in one?
I guess if like they're still upkept.
They're like renovated. With
I just don't want like stone falling on me in the middle of the night. Is that too much to ask for?
It feels like a lot, but I guess I get it.
Yeah. It is also noted that Harald is responsible for the construction of the oldest known bridge in southern Scandinavia. This is the Ravening Bridge in Ravening Meadows, which boasted a grand 5 meters wide and 760 meters long, or 16 feet wide and 2,490 feet long.
Okay.
Pretty big bridge.
Yeah.
So a couple other things that Harald did during his reign as king was that he ran a relatively tight ship, at least on the interior, well enough so that he was able to focus elsewhere, particularly on foreign affairs.
Oh.
He was able to help out Richard the Fearless of Normandy in 2 different instances in 945 and 963. Okay. It's also wild for me to be saying these years where it's like, oh, I'm so used to saying like 1945,
right?
Like something that past the like first millennia kind of situation. But no, we're just talking pre-millennia. Wild. So 945 and 963. So Richard the Fearless, or Richard the First, was not to be confused with King Richard the First, by the way.
Fair.
Was apparently the guy who introduced feudalism to Normandy, which is crazy.
Also, the fact that we're talking about feudalism,
right. And so a couple other things that happened as well. Harald's son goes and conquers Samland, which is a peninsula on the southeastern shore of the Baltic Sea. It might be part of modern day Russia now.
Okay.
his friend, Harold's friend, kills King Harald Greycloak of Norway, which helps secure Harald Gormsson's power as king in Norway, bringing Denmark and Norway under one ruler.
That's a ride or die.
Yeah, it's really funny. He's like, yeah, I'll do this for you, buddy.
Why not?
Would you do that for me? Come on.
I would, yeah, I'd go somewhere for you. Why not?
Yeah, I'll kill a king for you.
Dude, I mean, like, how hard can it be?
Whatever.
I know.
Especially in feudal Norway.
Just saying.
Just saying. There is a little bit more to that story about, obviously, but Greycloak is actually the nephew of Harald Gormsson, our main character.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So after Greycloak's father died, I'm referring to him as Greycloak since they both have the same fucking name.
Yes.
After Greycloak's father died, there was a bit of unclarity as to who had authority as king of Norway. Until Uncle King Harold came into town in 961 and declared Harald Greycloak to be his vassal king in Norway. Because Harald Greycloak was the eldest of his brothers.
Got it.
Now, a vassal king is a king that owes allegiance to another king or emperor. So it's kind of like your king, kind of.
Kind of.
You're like assistant to the regional manager.
Assistant to the regional manager. Yeah.
So Greycloak was doing a great job as king in that area, where he soon became less dependent on his uncle king, which didn't really sit well with Harold and his friends. Which is why Greycloak was eventually tricked into coming to Denmark in 970 and killed by Harold's friend.
Oh, well, now I'm upset. At first, I was like, oh, Greycloak, whatever. And now I'm like, oh, he was just like living his life and being prosperous.
And his nephew. Right. And so, in turn, that friend that killed Greycloak became the new vassal king of Norway as Harold won back power of that country. So he kind of brought it back all under the fold.
Sure.
It's very complicated, and then also there aren't a lot of records for any of this.
It's all runes,
right? It's very like small articles.
Yeah.
So despite those successes, King Harold isn't really held in a positive light. The Norse sagas written about Harold are often rather negative. Sagas being like tales, long epic poems written in prose, kind of. I don't want to say Beowulf, but you can think of Beowulf. Since Beowulf was a little bit more south.
Oh, Beowulf.
You could say a lot about Beowulf.
You could say a lot about
Beowulf. So 2 separate times, Harold was forced to submit to the renegade Swedish prince Styrbjorn the Strong of the Jomsvikings.
Oh.
The first time he submitted, I also like the renegade Swedish prince. That's just like a fun fucking title.
I just think of the song Renegades. Anyway,
the Sticks or not the Sticks?
The Sticks.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
The first time he submitted, he had to give Styrbjorn a fleet as well as his daughter Tira.
Wild.
Harald Gormsson named his daughter Tira after his mother, which is also like, it's all the same fucking name, and it's crazy.
I'm sure there was nicknames, right? It's like a Chekhov play.
Yes. Yeah. So like going back a little bit, Harold Greycloak, he had a nickname.
Was it Greycloak? Why do you think they named him Greycloak? He had a gray cloak, gray beard. I don't know.
No, it might have been, but his nickname actually was Grey Hide. And there's a whole story for that you can look up on your own. But like that would be the kind of nicknames that you get.
Greyhide.
Yeah, his name was Harold Greyhide Greycloak.
I'm sure it sounds better in its natural...
In its native tongue.
Yeah. Because I'm like, okay.
It's the same fucking thing. His story is like, why he is called Greyhide is like he bought some like furs or some shit like that. Like that's why he's Greyhide. I don't know.
Weird.
I think it like saved the economy or something. I don't know.
You know, when you buy a bunch of furs,
the market from crashing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first time he submitted, gave Styrbjorn a fleet and his daughter Tira. The second time, to get back to this, he had to give himself up. Harald Gormsson had to give himself up as hostage and send along yet another fleet to go to war.
Oh my God.
However, Harald winds up breaking his oath and flees with his Danes at the last minute to avoid fighting the Swedish army with Styrbjorn.
Oh my God.
That's the tales that are told in Harald's sagas. If any.
So he retreated.
Yeah.
Okay.
He ran away.
Got it.
The sagas written about Styrbjorn that mention Harald all have different takes about what actually happened, though.
Okay.
There are 3 that I'm going to go over briefly. One says Styrbjorn had his sister Gyrid marry Harald, while Harald gave his daughter Tira to Styrbjorn for conquering Jomsborg, as well as more warriors. So he gave him his daughter and more warriors. Here we go. And in this story, and it seems like in almost every story, every saga from here on out, the Danish force still returns to Denmark before the final battle, leaving Styrbjorn and his men to fight on their own. So there wasn't any capturing or giving myself up as hostage. It was like it was just kind of like they were friendly, but you're off to fight your own.
Got it. Which one do you believe?
Well, there's 2 more that I got to tell you too.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
Jump the gun.
The second saga tells how Styrbjorn comes to Denmark and takes Harald captive. Oh. Harald gives his daughter to Styrbjorn and joins him on his campaign in Sweden. Styrbjorn tactfully sets his ships on fire, which gives Harald the opportunity to flee back to Denmark with his own ships, since Styrbjorn wouldn't be able to chase after him.
Okay.
And the final saga of Styrbjorn that mentions Harald has Styrbjorn coming to Harald asking for help. Harald decided to befriend Styrbjorn and help the prince out, so Harald goes and conquers the land of the Slavs and takes the stronghold Jomsborg, which then he gives to Styrbjorn to command with a strong force. So in this saga, Harald is the hero and captures the stronghold instead of Styrbjorn.
Yeah.
But from there, Styrbjorn is doing a great job running Jomsborg. He's dominating the seas, winning a bunch of battles and whatnot, and eventually wants revenge on his family back in Sweden. So once again, he goes to Harald to ask for help to claim the throne of Sweden. Harold says, sure thing, no problem. We got you. We're friends. We're going to take this down. But Harald only makes it to Holland when he is informed that the German Emperor Otto had attacked Jutland. So, wanting to defend his own country rather than attack another, Harald goes away to drive the Germans away. Mm-hmm. But when he returns to help Styrbjorn, the prince had already left with his own forces to fight for the throne in Sweden, where he falls. So in that story, it puts Harald in a little bit more positive light.
Yeah.
But it seems that not many people really like that story.
Oh. People want to like shit on Harald.
I think so. Okay. From what I can tell in my research.
Do we know why people don't like Harald?
I think it kind of deals with my next point, which is the conversion to Christianity.
Okay, that's fair.
Because that is also kind of a fuzzy piece of history.
Sure. As
to what actually led Harald to convert.
Yeah.
Because there are accounts that say that Harald was converted by a cleric who asked him to prove his faith in Christ. And in that story, Harald carries a large piece of iron that's been heated by fire without being burned. And like he does this act and it's like, oh, God like protected me.
Sure.
Let's all praise him kind of shit. Other stories say that Harald was forcibly converted, either after a defeat in battle or as part of a peace agreement with the Holy Roman Emperor Otto I or Otto II. It's not really clear. Either way, Harald was in fact converted sometime around the 960s and helped grow the faith in Denmark and Norway, but was he was successful in like making the whole kingdom Christian, but not necessarily the people.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
I do always wonder, and I wish someone would either point me in this direction or if they've done this before. Like, what would the world be if Christianity wasn't as pervasive as it is?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if everyone still had their like connection to their religions, right?
Yeah.
Like, what would the world be?
I feel like there would still be one predominant religion.
I feel like there would be like one prominent religion, but like not to like overtake the world. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. It's a good what if question.
yeah. Isn't there a whole show about that?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, so like I think that led to people's dislike of Harold and the story spreading of like his retreat and fleeing from battle when like in a culture that is so honored in battle and whatnot. Praising Odin and Thor, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of why people are like, this fucking guy.
Well, especially to the Christianity point, like growing up in one religion and one, you know, kind of set of rituals, and all of a sudden be like, no, that's wrong. You're like, what the fuck are you gonna tell me that's wrong?
And like you're having the Holy Roman Empire encroach on your territory,
right?
Is something you have to deal with as well. And then him losing to Otto,
right,
doesn't really sit well, which leads to Harold's reign as king ending. And it ends when his son Sven led a rebellion against his crown. So his own son comes in.
Dang.
So Harold lost several battles during the German-Danish War of 974, which probably led to Sven starting this rebellion against his father.
Yeah.
There's defeats against Otto, which led him to Christianity and whatnot, like I've been saying this whole time. So it is believed that Harold died in 986, but there are some accounts that it was actually 985.
Okay.
Succumbing to his wound, Harold died in Jomsburg, the same stronghold that the sagas about Stjórnvin.
Sure. Yeah.
And his body was then brought back to the Trinity Church in Roskilde, where he was buried.
Okay.
That's the end of
Harold
Gormsson.
Okay.
So what sparked today's topic?
Tell me more.
For that, we need to talk about King Harald Gormsson's nickname. The first appearance of Harold's nickname shows up in a Danish historical piece written in 1140 in the Latin language called Chronicon Roskildense.
Okay.
I don't really speak Latin.
Fair. It's kind of a dead language.
Harold would often appear as Harold Bluetooth in many stories.
You bitch. You bitch.
He would often appear as Harold Bluetooth in many stories, though sometimes Blue Thane was used as well.
Okay.
It is said that he had a rotten or obviously bad tooth that appeared to be blue.
Gross.
In translation, it could have been like black or blue black or dark colored.
Sure.
But Bluetooth is kind of what it's been translated into English to.
Sure.
So this whole time, I've been talking about King Harald Bluetooth Gormsson of Denmark and Norway. And that might sound familiar to some of you longtime fans.
Yeah.
The OGs. Since that is where we get the name for Bluetooth technology from. Written out in the old runic ways that like you'd see on the gelling stones, the Yuling stones, inscriptions, you can find the parts of his name the developers of Bluetooth technology used to come up with the symbol you see today. So, while you're still got the time machine warmed up, travel back to November 7th, 2023, and listen to WDYK number 22 and learn about Bluetooth technology. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Ha ha ha.
Gross. It's like you wrote that out, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, horrifying.
And that's Harald Gormsson.
You know what? I feel like Greycloak would have been so much better at being king.
Yeah, well, he became so independent. It was just a struggle of power. And like I said, Harald Bluetooth did some stuff like uniting the powers, which is why they used his name as the code name for the Bluetooth technology of like uniting different devices and whatnot. Spoiler alert.
You weren't going to ruin it.
Yeah. It's a much more fascinating topic.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know. There's so few accounts of Harold Bluetooth, and like there's maybe a touch more accounts on Greycloak. Like it's
sure
very. I feel like power changed, and like things weren't written down as much as to some of the like Christian countries of the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was fun. It was interesting. It was a very tough topic to research because there was such little information. But I'm glad I did it. I've been waiting a year to do this. So
cross it off that list. Wait. So then Sven led the rebellion and won.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what. Yeah. So that ended Harold Bluetooth's reign.
Yeah.
And then
but he didn't kill his father. Kind of.
It's not known who actually did the final blow, but he died. Harold died while fighting off the rebellion. So he was there ready to fight and kill everybody, but he succumbed to his injuries and died.
If I was Sven, I'd be like, give me that fucking tooth. Like, can you imagine just like fine teeth and then just that one? Like, get it? Why wouldn't you rip it out?
And like, to me, it's not, for some reason in my head, and it's probably just the content I consume. It's not like a human tooth. It's just like this dark mass, like almost like giant, like dragon tooth kind of thing. Ugh. That's what's blue in my head.
In my head, it is like the incisor.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like it is that canine tooth. Yeah. Right. But it's like kind of like separate from the others. Like it's so prominent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're just like, oh, just pull it. Oh.
But like, why wouldn't you remove it?
Well, I guess what was dentistry in 940?
Good punch to the mouth.
Exactly. Good punch to the mouth. All right. Well, great topic.
Just a quick little one for everybody today. And thanks for listening. Thanks, Nick, for listening as well. If you have any topics that you'd like us to look into or retouch on, let us know. Ooh. Feel free to DM us.
Yeah.
And but you can also find us everywhere on the internet at WDYK_podcast, and check out some of our old episodes that I'm referencing.
I love it. Good callback.
And thanks, Nick, for being here.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll catch you all next week.
Okay.
Bye.
Goodbye.